can I then propose that we take items 12 and 13 together? Is that agreed? Agreed. And we have Brendan, Chris and Dermot Collins here as well. So I'm going to work away. Fastest finger first, and then we'll take it from there. And Paddy, you were fastest finger first, so.
Yeah, thanks very much. So I'm raising the Clontarf Seafront cycleway because it is the oldest, longest unbroken segregated cycle route in the city. So this isn't necessarily a local issue. I have raised it at area committee repeatedly and did not get a satisfactory answer. The one thing I was told at area committee that when it was closed for 4 months this summer, shut down for 4 months, that this was accepted by the Active Travel Office, that they were aware of it and that it was something that they endorsed. So that was from the engineer who I finally got to speak on this at area committee. So I'd be concerned, for example, the next item that's coming up is the bus stop on the Clontarf Seafront, which again, it's not just a local issue, because what I think it speaks to is the willingness to sacrifice active travel at the snap of a finger. While for 4 months motorised transport was unaffected on the seafront, and we went with it, I didn't see a single child using the seafront cycleway because no parent in the right mind would let them, during a beautiful summer, no parent in the right mind would let them do that. So 2 questions. Number 1, did the Active Travel Office endorse and are they satisfied with the manner in which the works went ahead? And secondly, the works that are to be done on the bus stop on the cycleway, which is coming up in the next item, will there be a temporary segregated cycle path put in place so that bikes aren't shafted again? Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Councillor Monaghan. Councillor Cooney.
Yeah, thanks. It's good to see the report. It's good to see that it's going to go construction to from Clontarf to from Coolock to Clontarf section. I'm just wondering, will the Vernon Avenue placemaking section also be there? And when will we see, like I asked for the slides for the preferred option that we had a presentation on, but I actually haven't received those as yet. So I'd like to be able to have those slides. On the yeah, so just we have a separate item on the bus stop and everything. I also got a reply to say that there will not be any closing of the cycleway. I got a reply to my question, which I put down, and I'm reading through it now to say there won't be any closing of cycleways for any flood defence or other works without safe alternatives, and that they will be done in conjunction with traffic. So hopefully that's for future now.
Thanks,
we have future planning for that, so I'm glad with that. I'm just wondering in terms of the school
Donna,
routes and the school zones.
Councillor O'Driscoll.
I just have a question on, it's in Annex 3, it's the Royal Canal Phase 4. It's saying, the report is indicating that there is delays due to the unavailability of the ground investigation contractor, and I'm just, really keen for this work to go ahead. So could we get more information on, is this contractor in place and it's just, we're in a queue for them, or have we procured the services of a ground investigation contractor, and is there an idea of how long this delay will be? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor O'Driscoll, particularly for your brevity. Councillor Flanagan.
Thanks very much, Lord Mayor. Just to welcome the 38 kilometres of Greenway network that has been completed. And just to ask a question around the budget, and obviously it's gone over budget, and just in terms of the 11 projects that are scheduled going forward, what learnings have been made in terms of the budget? And will the Coolock to Clontarf and the Gracefield Road to Vernon Avenue, two of the 11 projects, will they for sure happen in 2026? And just a question around the traffic generally around the city centre and the places like Griffith Avenue and Whitehall. Just the traffic sequencing, the intelligent traffic system. At times it just allows maybe 1 or 2 vehicles to go through. And it's something that has been raised by a lot of the residents, just that the city isn't moving as quickly as perhaps could be. So if the management team could just comment on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Flanagan. Felgen. Councillor Jose.
Thanks, Lord Mayor. On Royal Canal Phase 4, the referral to Inverplanala for the EIAR, I believe that's been going on for 2.5 years now. That's incredibly frustrating because that's not even the planning application, that's just to decide if we need a planning application. Is there any update on that? And pending an update on that, could you carry out interim works on the section between Ashtown and Phibsborough, especially the surface. It's incredibly poor. Waterways Ireland have gotten onto them several times and they're completely unwilling to do it. But also there are kissing gates along the entire section at Broome Bridge, between the industrial estate as well. It's completely inaccessible for people in wheelchairs, for people in buggies, for people with cargo bikes. If there's anything you can do to remove those kissing gates and improve the surface on an interim basis while we await a decision, that would be perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Ray Cunningham.
Thank you. Regarding the city centre traffic plan, an earlier phase of the plan introduced traffic restrictions on the quays, and while compliance was high at the start, it is reported to be dropping as time goes on because there is no enforcement. Drivers can go straight down the quays, ignoring the signs, and nothing will happen. So is there any progress on camera enforcement at that location or on red light camera enforcement around the city? Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Councillor Kevin Breen.
Thanks, Lord Mayor. And can I also join you in welcoming the student journalists here this evening, and a particularly warm welcome to Sadie Lockman, who's a fellow Clontarf native. You're all very welcome here this evening. I just have two questions in relation to the Clontarf City Centre cycleway. I noticed that there was some mention of snagging works being done. Can I just ask the management if, under the snagging works that are being laid out, if continuous footpaths are being re-examined, just due to the fact that people who are non-neurotypical or visually impaired need repetition and repeatability in design to easily identify markers in which they can live independently and access the public realm. So is that being looked at under snag works? And then in relation to raised footpaths around the bus stop, I know for someone in a wheelchair to access the bus, they need the path to be a certain height so they're not on a huge incline to come in. I know opposite, for example, one of my constituents who's in a wheelchair opposite the Clontarf bus garage has a very, very difficult time independently accessing the bus. So if that's something that can be looked at under the city cycle.
Thanks, Councillor Breen. Councillor Kieran Perry.
Thanks, Lord Mayor. Thank Manager for the reports. The Cabra to Blanchardstown cycleway and the Daily Mount to Cabra Cross cycleways, there's very little detail on those. Do we have any indicative timelines, even next phase and indicative timelines for those? That would be appreciated. There's quite a bit of interest locally. And just to repeat what Councillor O'Driscoll has asked about the Royal Canal Phase 4, a couple of meetings ago I raised that as well, the lack of an engineer. Has there been any progress made on sourcing an engineer, and what's the likelihood that we will get one in some reasonable time? Cormagat.
Thank you, Councillor Perry. Councillor Horner, and then I'm going to go online. Kieran, will you switch off your... we have it.
Thanks. I just wanted to raise yet again the issue of the planters being used to segregate cycle lanes around the city, thinking specifically of Parnell Square, of Riders Row, of numerous places. I checked my email. Myself and Councillor Flynn raised it on the 3rd of March for the first time at a City Council meeting and got a response to say it will be dealt with imminently. We are now 7 months later. All the planters have continued to deteriorate. I have asked the team about this. They are telling me it's a procurement issue. If it is a procurement issue, we have a serious problem with the City Council, that it takes us more than 7 months through prominent summer season where we have managed to turn the city upside down to facilitate the likes of NFL events and whatever else, and a huge number of tourists in the city, and we cannot manage the basic tasks of refilling planters, taking out weeds and ensuring they look better. That is such a basic task. The scale of the procurement delivery there is just completely unacceptable, and we need to change it immediately, and I want this to be dealt with more than just in the process of the general procurement scale. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Horner. I think the Acting Assistant Chief Executive has already indicated the maintenance issue is an important piece for him, so we'll take it up as well, Dermot, on that. Councillor Coffey. David? Thank you. We'll get it back on there in a minute. Anyone else coming in, don't touch your buttons.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Just in relation to what Councillor Horner there said on the planters, I totally agree. I think they're actually failed.
and we should look at other solutions. I welcome the report. The greenways are working really, really well, especially along the canals. I use them myself quite frequently. I would have questions around unintended consequences in relation to some of the other cycle lanes around the city. The dotted greenway is working well. Anglesey Road, there's traffic since the new strip opened up there, backing up. Hopefully changes to the light sequencing there can solve that problem. But a bigger problem is Ranelagh Village. So we've put a lovely cycle lane all the way through Ranelagh Village. It's great if you're cycling through. Not so good if you're running a business in the area, because cars and taxis can't pull in anymore. There's problems in relation to deliveries to businesses in the area. There's nowhere for them to pull in. People coming, there's a vibrant restaurant and bar trade in the area. People trying to get there by taxi in the evening. So taxis have nowhere to stop, only on the main road. So traffic is being affected. I don't mind trying these things. If they don't work, though, I'd ask the active travel unit to please monitor closely. We try it out. If it doesn't work, look at it and come back and maybe change it. Thank you
very much, Councillor Coffey. Online then we've got Councillor Keith Conley. Keith, over to you.
Thanks, Lord Mayor. Just the Finglas Village improvement scheme, I see it's delayed again, unfortunately. So we were told Q4 this year, then we were told Q1 next year, and now it's the end of Q2 in the space of 2 or 3 months. So I suppose, what's the reason for the delay? And it also mentions kind of changes there as well. So I hope public reps will be briefed on those changes, perhaps at the area committee in advance of that plan being finalised. And then my second query is in relation to the McKee Avenue roundabouts changes. I think the public consultation closed on that at the 1st of last month. I wonder when the report will be issued, and again an updated timeline. There's very little detail in that pack. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Conley. Councillor Deirdre Heaney, followed by Councillor Hazel Chew. Deirdre, you're on mute.
Good morning, just 3 things. One, a question about the safe school zones for the Educate Together school, Raheny, Colester, Clontarf, here in Colester. Can the manager update me on what he can do to speed that up, because the traffic around that locality, Lord Mayor, God, it's really, really hazardous. The way people are parking, the way people are driving, the way people are reversing up into that school, it's just terrifying to see in the morning. The second thing is there's very little detail again on the cycleway from Finglas to Colester. Wonder, is there any further detail he can give on that? And then last, Lord Mayor, is an item I raised, I think it was at the last City Council meeting, Chris, the traffic part, or the motor vehicle part of the Bachelor's Walk piece, where you can't turn left from Bachelor's Walk onto O'Connell Street, but you can go straight across after 7 o'clock in the evening. The road markings there are really unclear, and people are taking their lives into their own hands. It's really, really poor road markings there. I wonder, could you look at it? Thanks very much, Lord Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Heaney. Former Lord Mayor Hazel Chew.
Thanks, Lord Mayor. Listen, thank you to the team and all their work and the report. I just, following on Councillor Coffey's questions about Ranelagh, listen, it's a bit of a mess, but it's welcomed insofar it is a long-awaited cycle lane that we've been talking about forever. So how do we improve it? Are the team looking at the improvements? What are the current monitoring in place to make sure those improvements happen? Because I don't want to go backwards. It's not a case that we're going to get rid of these lanes. They have to happen. It's the only way we can build on sustainable travel. And also the ones, and not just in Ranelagh, but across the city, when will they be coming down bit by bit so that we can build actual cycle lane that's segregated on them? And the Milltown to Rotmines, I don't know if my council colleague, Councillor Moore, mentioned it again. She mentioned it previously a few times. What is happening with that? It was delayed. It was pushed out massively. That is a route that we desperately need as well, and it was on the agenda previously. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hazel. And with there are 4 colleagues left to offer, can I get agreement to suspend standing orders to finish this item before we move to motions? Is that agreed? Agreed. Councillor Vincent Jackson. Don't touch it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Lord Mayor. While welcoming the report here on active travel tonight, could I have some indication, particularly for the Clontarf quality bus or cycleway into the city centre, the additional usages for the expenditure over the last couple of years that have been spent on that. And just the segregated cycleway along Ballyfermot Road, it's absolutely filthy. You'd risk your life going down Ballyfermot Road, particularly outside the Stonebout Park. It's very, very poor maintenance, and I just want to know, is this indicative of other cycleways around the city? And just in relation, Lord Mayor, have we any say with Bus Connects? And the reason I'm asking this, for such a huge part of the city infrastructure, the decision to axe the 26 bus in the Chapel Lizard area, they've lost 5 buses now over the last 2 years. It just seems to be a totally underrepresented of democratic accountability, Bus Connects, and I think going forward, it doesn't do itself any favours. It just makes draconian decisions. It tells people they're going to happen, asks people for their views, and doesn't matter what the views come back are, they just go ahead and do it. Thanks, Lord Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Fiona Connolly.
My colleague, Councillor Chu, called them wands, but I had also got a question on the plastic bollards, because while I really do want more protected cycle lanes, I just think that we need to look at an overall consistent commitment to cycling in the city. And on that consistent commitment to cycling, sometimes bicycles get that little green bicycle light ahead of the traffic so that they get a little head start, and then sometimes they don't. So I was just wondering if that's something that needs to be looked at as a consistent model across the city, so cyclists can know and predict what's happening next. I have one specific question, or 2 more questions. The safety of children on bicycles, I just wonder, statistics we've been presented with before just show how many people are walk, wheeling and cycling, but I just wonder how many children are independently cycling to school on their own wheels, because I find that quite stressful. I preferred them when they were in my cargo bike. And lastly, presentation primary school and presentation community college in Terranure have different stages of their safe routes to school. So one is in procurement phase and one's in public consultation. So I just wonder if that's an error, or it's at the bottom of page 10, top of page 11 on the report. So I was just wondering if we get clarification on that, please. And I'm very excited that it's in procurement for the presentation primary school. Thank you for all the work.
Thanks, Fiona. Cornor McDonagh.
Gormagat Ardver agus Gormagat and Tourish. Just a question on 837 there, Kilbarrack Road to Oscar Train Road, Bayside to Dunamead. I'd anticipate that would be a very well used route. I'm very familiar with it. I live on Kilbarrack Road myself. I'm kind of puzzled that changes had to be made, because it's a very straight and straightforward route. It's kind of puzzling that would have had to happen. So it's saying that it's anticipated that the updated scheme proposals, together with the report on public consultation, will be published in the next quarter. Okay, that's fine. And then it mentions a public information event will take place to inform residents. Can we have a timeline on that public information event, please, Cormac?
Thank you very much, Conor McDonagh. Councillor Boylan.
Gormagat Ardvera, Gormagat Manager for the report. Just on the public transport project, Bus Connects and bus priority measures. I'm just going to read this. The DCC Bus Connects liaison team acts as a conduit of information exchange between the NTA, Bus Connects Networks redesign team and various departments within the DCC. That's great. Loads of lovely liaison going on. But what I want to know is, when are we liaising with the constituents that are going to be directly affected by the changes that are incorporated in some of these? And the reason that I'm asking is there is a plan to remove the bus stop from Centra in Manor Street. Some people call it Stony Bar. I refuse point blank. It's Manor Street. They're removing it, and they want to move it down to Blackhall Place, where there's a lovely row of houses, absolutely no front gardens, no parking space for the people that are there. Some of them have accessibilities, and they want to take the space up between number 2 and number 8 to bring the bus stop down there. Now, I've been contacted by a number of the people down there who are very concerned about this, because it's going to be a nightmare for them. It's a very busy route as it is, and I just want to know, apart from them raising it with me, and obviously I'll raise it as well, what can they do? How do they feed this information back into this? Because I know it's been said time and time again, but it's not reaching the people it needs to reach. So we need to be making this a little bit more clear. Go, Margaret.
Thank you very much, Councillor Boylan. I think that concludes everyone from my own behalf. There was a very well-attended consultation 2 weeks ago on the Portal Place Square and the works there at the park. and when can we expect the report on the consultation to come forward? The money, I understand, is there. How quickly can we get work started, and can we get it done in time then for next summer, so that families can enjoy an improved and enhanced playground and air and space? The east wall, the east road, there was an initial consultation earlier this year in the Sean O'Casey Centre about that link between North Wall and East Wall. Where does that currently lie, and when are we going to see detail? It talks about some stage this quarter. Is it going to be before the end of this year, or are we looking at it'll be drawings or detailed proposals early in 2026? And then finally, a wider issue in terms of Arbour Hill. It's been ongoing with the former engagement with the former city engineer before he retired, and they were looking at between the Garrison Church and junction with Stony Manor Street. And I haven't got clarity as to where that now stands and what progress has been made on it. So if someone can come back to me on that quickly, I'd greatly appreciate it. So Brendan, Chris and Dermot, over to yourselves. Who wants to go first? Good man, Chris.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I will respond to the questions in turn. Councillor Monaghan, your concerns in relation to the closure of cycle lanes during the flood defence works. So we would have engaged with the flood defence works, and they found themselves in difficulty in that they had a very limited window to carry out the works because of the environmental constraints, and that's on account of the Brent geese coming back for the wintering period. And in order to meet the constraints, they had to work on two work fronts. And that meant that in order to complete the works, they couldn't make the space available for the cyclists. So they would have explained the reasoning behind that. And we would have had experience with that because we would have delivered the scheme between the Bull Road and Causeway, with the wooden bridge and the Causeway Road. So that was the situation we found ourselves. In order to finish the works, they had to work on two work fronts, and that meant that there wasn't sufficient space then for the cyclists. So that's in relation to that scheme. Now, in relation to the bus stop, that will be going to construction. The intention is to have to take a lane away from the cars, so there will be a shuttle system there, and that will make space available then for pedestrians and cyclists. But bearing in mind that the space is so constrained, we'll only have 3 meters to work with between putting a barrier to protect the pedestrians and cyclists, and to have the cyclists and pedestrians themselves in that same space. So we envisage that it is going to be a share with care arrangement for pedestrians and cyclists, but segregated from cars. Councillor Cooney, Vernon Avenue placemaking scheme, it is slightly behind in terms of progress with the Brookfield Avenue scheme being ahead. So that is going ahead first, but the design is progressing in parallel. In terms of the closing of the cycle tracks, and you have received correspondence in that regard from our colleagues in flood defence. So we'll work closely with the traffic department and the roadworks control unit for any future roadworks to minimise disruption and where it's practicable. Councillor O'Driscoll, in relation to the ground investigations on Royal Canal Phase 4, those are at the underpass to the railway line, which is narrow and has very little headroom. And the difficulties we find ourselves is that the ground investigation contractors nationally, they are very busy and they have limited availability. But what then complicates it is that in order to carry out the ground investigations, we need possession of the railway, which means we can only do it when there's an extended period when trains are not running, and we only get those windows principally, it's around Easter, the period when there is a little, very limited schedule for trains to run, and we have to even then tie in with Irish Rails on maintenance works along the line. So it makes it very difficult that when we get possession and the contractor is not available, then we've missed the window and we have to wait for the next window. So that's where the complication is on that, and it's difficult for us to give a specific timeline on when we will achieve that. Councillor Flanagan, in terms of the projects, the delivery and the budgets for the 11 projects that we are hoping to proceed to construction over the next 12 months, we have a proposal that will be part of our capital budget, and it's in line with our funding for this year. But even with that, we are not certain that we will have the same level of funding next year as we got this year, and that will only become clearer to us towards the end of this month, maybe the first week of November, when the budget process and the subsequent dividing out of the grants is carried out. The Coolock to Clontarf scheme, yes, it is a priority for us to proceed to construction next summer. Councillor was in relation to Royal Canals Phase 4, the referral to and Commissioner Planola. Again, we don't. Yes, and it's coming up to 2 years now, and since the referral was made, and we don't have a decision on that. In the absence of a decision, we cannot really do anything ourselves, but it is something that we will engage with Waterways Ireland because they are the custodians and they own the toll path as it is at the moment, to engage and establish if there's any maintenance activities that they can do in the short term, and that would include the removal of the kissing gates. Councillor Breen, in terms of the Clontarf to city centre, the continuous footpaths, we have no proposal to make changes to those at the moment. However, we are in engagement with the disabled people's organizations and the National Disability Authority in terms of how we can provide these schemes in future. And the same applies to bus stops, to cycle tracks and footpaths around bus stops. Councillor Perry, Cabra to Blanchardstown and the Cabra Cross to Dollymount scheme. They are in the early stages of the design process. We are getting close to concluding the option selection for the Blanchardstown to Cabra Cross scheme, and the segment that had delayed us significantly was the northern section, where there is a significant pinch point on the road, and we think we have a solution on that, and we expect to close that option selection process by the end of the year, but we haven't set a specific timeline for construction of that. The same Dollymount to Cabra Cross, we are closing out the option selection. We haven't set the specific dates for timeline for construction for that, but it is not planned to start next year. Yes. Councillor, okay, Councillor Ona. Okay, all right, okay. Councillor Ona, Brendan will take your query. Councillor Coffey, I think the planters is linked to Councillor Warner's question. Brendan will take that. In terms of the impact of our schemes in terms of general monitoring, what we observe is that there is, during the bedding in period of a scheme, there tends to be, I suppose, a bit of turbulence in terms of traffic, and as people adjust to the new road layouts and requirements, traffic movement then stabilizes over time, and we keep making observations on this, and where it's feasible, we will look to make some adjustments. But again, bearing in mind that we are taking road space from cars to provide for cycling, so the capacity for cars is going to reduce, and if we are to achieve this, it is an impact that we should embrace, and again, that's consistent with our policy as a council. Councillor Connolly, Finglas Village, we had to make some adjustments to the design of the scheme, particularly around the North Road junction, because it was giving us complications. In order to make that work, we would have to work and include the junction across the bridge. And when you take out some elements of work, it means you have to relook at the whole thing and make the necessary adjustments, and that's primarily where the delays are coming from on that. In terms of Mackay Avenue public consultation, the report is under preparation, and I might get back to confirm the dates when that would be available. Councillor Heaney, the Finglas to Killester scheme, it's still at very early stages, so we don't have full details on that, but it is a scheme that is not going to go to construction next year or the year after. Councillor Chu, I note your concern in terms of the Milltown scheme. It is a bit low on our priorities, and we do not have resources at the moment to assign to it, because our resources are working on the Doda and then the Sandiford to Klonski scheme. Councillor Jackson, you inquired on the additional usage of the Clontarf to City Centre scheme. On a recent survey that we did, it showed that the number of users of the cycle track between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Had increased by just under 10%. But in addition to that, there is increased diversity of users, and again, that leads to Councillor Connelly's question in terms of safety and independent cycling of children. We have observed that there is actually a significant number of children, I would say probably 10 to 12-year-olds, cycling on their own in small groupings, going to and from their sports training events. So that is a good indicator, but we'll be doing additional surveys to actually have concrete evidence and data on that. In terms of the advanced start for cyclists at lights, we do those, and we look at it on a scheme by scheme, and working closely with Brendan and his team on that. Councillor McDonough, the delay for the Bayside to Donamid scheme, it has been two principal issues. There's 790 trees on the scheme, and we had to go tree by tree to try and establish how we could save the most amount of trees, and discuss that internally with our experts in the Parks Department. And that takes a lot of time, as well as site investigations. The second element is that it is a key route for emergency vehicles. all the way to the coast and to Beaumont Hospital. And we have to review it, being mindful that we need to protect the emergency response times along the route. So just looking on to the final questions then from the Lord Mayor. Portland Square Park, yes, we are working with the objective to have it ready for next summer. East Road public consultation, we had a public consultation. We have held that back for review, and this is in light of the scheme that the Dublin Port Company are progressing to construction. We think it would be prudent for us to develop a complementary scheme that would ensure that the residents would have full connected access to the scheme that Dublin Port Company are putting, which connects to the scheme that they opened last year. So, Brendan, can you start?
Sorry, Lord Mayor, if I could just come in brief. That's about it.
Yeah, just very quickly to go through some of the ones that are specifically for traffic. The traffic lights around the city are controlled from our SCAT system, and I suppose what you have to bear in mind is that at each junction we're trying to facilitate public transport, we're trying to facilitate pedestrians, cycling, cars, etc. So sometimes that does cause quite a lot of problems, and sometimes the junctions can just be overloaded. Where it's only a question of one or two cars getting through, sometimes if you report that to us, to our control centre, there may be some particular reason for that, there may be some fault or something like that. Just moving on to camera enforcement. Camera-based enforcement is a long-running topic. We are starting to make some progress, or see some progress. We have the first automatic speed camera installed in Dolphins Barn in conjunction with the Garda Síochána this year. We also have a red light running camera which is just waiting approval from the Gardaí as well at Marion Gates, and we hope then in conjunction really with the NTA and the whole Bus Connect project to start to be able to roll out the bus lane enforcement, so which will certainly assist with the issue of people going through some of the restrictions.
Lord Mayor, could Brendan just repeat? I couldn't hear what he said about a red light at Marion Gates. I just couldn't hear it. That's all.
Sorry, so there's a red light for our red light camera, red light enforcement camera, going to be commissioned for Marion Gates for the level crossing there, and we're just waiting for the Gardaí to do the approvals and so on. It's Irish Rail. It's an Irish Rail project which we've assisted them on. Regarding issues to do with Bachelor's Walk road markings from Councillor Heaney, we said we will have a look at this and just see if there's a particular item to go to that we can address. The safe school zones, Raheny Colester, maybe Councillor, if you just send me an email on that particular one, because I'm not familiar. As you know, we do have a list. If you send through that particular one, I'll see if it's on the list or where we are with it. Regards Councillor Horner and the long-running planter saga, I agree with you. It's taking a long time. Part of the reason for that is we did go through a whole procurement process. We did reach an agreed preferred bidder. We appointed the bidder, and then they've turned us down. So they didn't accept the contract. So it's left us having to go back around again. But what we're trying to do in the meantime, because it's taking so long, we're trying to put some temporary measures in place. But that was why it was not just a failure of procurement. It was actually that having gone through the whole process, the contractor that we'd appointed didn't take it up. Regarding Bus Connects, and I suppose in general, you know, as it says in the report, we do have a liaison team whose kind of role is a technical liaison team. What Bus Connects themselves, the NTA, have is their own public liaison teams, and they're, you know, both setting up so that the councillors can feed into the particular projects. but also the public can. So in terms of the couple of items that have been raised, we'll take that away ourselves anyway and raise that with Bus Connects. But certainly, as part of the works that they're doing, they will have a whole liaison team to go through those particular items. There was an issue raised about presentation. It's two different schools in presentation, the primary and the secondary. They've got slightly different needs and requirements, so that's why one is at a later stage than the other. It's not actually a mistake on that one. And Stony Batter will come back to you on that, Lord Mayor.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Those reports noted? Noted. 10 seconds, Councillor Breen.
Thanks, Lord Mayor. I just want to, in relation to Chris, just on the continuous footpaths, I do find it very disappointing that the council aren't, I suppose, re-examining the footpaths. They are a clear and present danger to people with visual impairment. And I think
I'm just conscious there's councillors who've got motions on the agenda, so if you want tea room for that conversation can continue.
Can I just get...
Sorry. Whoa. We're not opening the whole thing. Councillor Horner's first.
Can I just get a commitment that those planters will be dealt with one way or another, like in the next couple of months, because it's insane how long they've been left like that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're happy to do it.
Grant, Councillor Cooney.
Mine's just a
10
point of
seconds.
information. It's that it seems to have been taken together with the bus stop, and I thought that was going to be a separate item. And is that, or are we going straight to motions because it's down
No, we
there?
have to understand in orders. We have to go to motions at 8:30.
Yeah, but it would be good to get that agreed upon.
I know,
you know,
but
so,
people had a lot of questions to ask of active travel and transport. And I
yeah,
have to
but
get them answered.
this is
Donna,
is a
I hear you.
statutory. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. So
No,
now-
the other item which is on the
Guys.
bus stop. Yeah.
The motions, they're proposed and seconded? Perfect. Now moving to motions. Core Lord and Norton.
Before I start, is there anyone in the chamber to listen to the motion from the Chief Executives? Or am I speaking to you? Are you going to agree?
We just... It's a fair point.
Call the manager back to the chamber.
No. And this will be under the group system, as would be the case.